What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the group Online Business Growth Secrets for Health Experts. My name is Javier Carlin. I'm a physical therapist, and this is Marissa Case. She's a registered dietitian, and we are here every Monday at 6 p.m., soon to be 7 p.m. again, sharing with you the latest and greatest in business, development, marketing, sales, and everything in between. And today we have a very special guest. Kate is here with us. She's the running DPT, and we brought her in. She is one of our awesome clients, and she's absolutely crushing it in her business right now. So we figured, hey, who can we bring on here to inspire you, to share with you some insights into what's been working really well for her, and hopefully give you that inspiration that you need to go out there and grow your business, to go out there and take that leap of faith and even start your business. So if that's something that you are wanting to do, then you're at the right place at the right time. And we're super excited to be here. So Kate, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So before we dive in, let us know, for those that are live right now, let us know if you can hear us, if you can see us okay. Say hello in the chat so we know you're with us. And Kate was actually the person who inspired us, me and Marissa, to really start getting into reels and TikToks and talks and all these different platforms. So we saw Kate crushing it on other platforms like Instagram, and we're like, you know what? She's having a bunch of fun on those. She's having success with that platform. We should probably start doing it too. And Marissa's taking on that project, so we owe it all to you, Kate.
Awesome. I've seen your reels. They look great.
Thanks. Awesome. Learning from the best.
That's right. We have Kimberly in the house saying hello. Hi, Kim.
Hey, Kim.
Good to see you. If you're live with us right now, let us know you're here, so we know who we're talking to. But let's go ahead and dive right in. Kate, so give us a little bit of a background. Tell us a little bit more about you.
Yeah, okay. So I am a physical therapist and a run coach. I grew up just outside of Buffalo, New York, went to college in Rochester, and I was only practicing in outpatient orthopedics for about like a year before I quit my job and decided to go all in on my performance PT and run coaching business. It is all conducted through Instagram. And the handle is @therunning_DPT. So I've just felt really called to work with this population, and I really dove into having my own business a lot quicker than I thought I would. And it's been a lot of fun. It's been super fulfilling. So yeah, so that's what I've been up to.
That's awesome. That's so good. So what inspired you initially to start your own business? Was there like a trigger moment, or when did you say enough?
Yeah, so I have a couple reasons. One of the big ones was just being able to serve a population that I felt called to serve. In my outpatient ortho job, I saw a few runners here and there, but it really just didn't feel like enough to me. And another, it kind of goes along this lines, is I was really sick of insurance dictating the way that I treat my patients. I feel that the standard structure of outpatient ortho does not really allow you to treat athletes the way they deserve to be treated. So I really wanted to step away from that. And also I just wanted flexibility in my schedule, being able to work on my own time. You guys know that I'm someone who has a chronic illness myself, so I have to be flexible, and that's just part of my life. So being able to make my own schedule and work on my own time was huge.
That's awesome. And you work with you said you work with athletes, and you were starting to realize how you enjoyed working with them, but you couldn't actually take care of them like you really knew you could and wanted to. What kind of drew you to runners? Are you running yourself, or?
Yeah, so I've been running my whole life. I ran my first 5K when I was 9. So yeah, it was always a population that I just loved treating. Anytime a runner came into the clinic, they just got volleyed my way, and I was super happy about it. I just really love every aspect of it, doing the running gait analysis and really selling strength training on runners for injury prevention, all of that. So yeah, as a runner myself, and as someone who has experienced running related injuries throughout my life, I felt really called to, help those people out. Really the reason I decided to become a PT myself is because I went to PT for the first time when I was like a freshman in high school with a running related injury. And he was kind of the first person that gave me hope that I would get back to doing what I loved after I was kind of bouncing around different, healthcare providers. So I really wanted to be able to do that for other runners too.
Yeah, I mean, so many people go into the profession that they go into because of something that happened earlier in life. Like, for example, dietitians, a lot of dietitians maybe have met with a dietitian, or somebody in their family has met with a dietitian before, and it inspired them to become a dietitian, similar to your story with the running and the PT. Now, I'm curious, I know for me going into dietetics, I always dreamed of having my own private practice and this and that. And then when I got to school, my teachers told me that you can't start your own private practice, or you can't start your own business right away. You have to work in a clinic or work in clinical and get some experience first. So I'm curious to know, for you, was having this business something that you dreamed of or even thought was possible? Or did your teachers in school tell you, you have to start in a clinic, you have to start in outpatient ortho? How did that kind of go for you?
Yeah, so I always knew I kind of wanted to go out on my own at some point, but I always thought it would be like 3 to 5 years into practicing. I kind of got a bit of a mixed review from my education. So most of my professors were giving the same information as yours, saying you have to get experience, you have to get mentorship and all of this. But I actually had one adjunct professor who he actually is a practice owner himself and works only with athletes, and he's cash-based as well. And he was really someone that kind of showed me for the first time, you don't have to do it the way that everyone else does it. So it was really cool having that kind of mentorship, but definitely experienced the same kind of pushback from, classical PTs who, there's this way to do it and this is the way you do it. So.
Yeah, it's common.
Yeah.
What field you're in, dietetics, PT, OT. I know we have a bunch of occupational therapists in here as well. It's so common, the school system.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it kind of makes you feel like you can't succeed, unless you have that mentorship. So it's kind of sad, but.
Yeah, totally. And you know what? When first starting your business, did you have what was that process like, transitioning, from employee to full-time business owner? Did you have any hesitations, initially, any fears, or were you like, you know what, I got this,
Yeah. So when I first started out, you guys know I was working with Kristen Schultz, which is another business coach and a friend of Javier and Marissa's. And I had told her, yeah, I'm not gonna, leave my full-time job until maybe 3 years out, after doing this. I launched it as a side hustle. So I was kind of doing it, in my evenings and on my weekends. And I just kind of got to the point where I had too many clients that I couldn't, continue to grow without leaving my full-time job. So it was it was kind of a jump off the deep end. I feel like I'm not someone that ever feels ready for anything. So it was definitely a little earlier than I maybe thought in my mind I'd planned to do, but I have no regrets. The transition was a little challenging, I think, going from someone telling you what to do and when to do it to, having your schedule open to however you want to make it. Is a bit daunting. But then after you get more comfortable in it, you feel like the beauty of it is my time is my own time and I can schedule my time the way I want to. So scary at first, but rewarding afterwards.
Yeah. And on that topic already, do you have any tips or tricks that kind of helped you get your schedule in place when you first started off? Because I think I can speak for both of us here. We both felt the same way when we jumped into entrepreneurship. We were like, what do? We wake up in the morning and it's we understand the process, but where do we even start? Right. So what tips or tricks kind of helped you get your schedule going and, kept you on track in your business?
Yeah. So when I first started out, I was just kind of working from a to-do list, which just doesn't work. So the way that I do it is I sit down either at the beginning of the week or at the end of the last week, and I kind of write out all the things that I have to accomplish in that week. And then I actually go through my planner and I schedule it all out. So I know, okay, on Monday, I'm updating this person's plan and I have this call and XYZ, so that I'm not just looking at a huge to-do list of things to do, because that feels daunting. I'm actually having it spread out throughout the week, so I know I'm going to complete all the tasks that I want to complete, building in flexibility just in case something pops up. That's been huge for me, really taking the time, like a whole hour, to really schedule out, and not just business stuff, like life stuff too. Scheduling, this is when I'm going to get out of bed. This is when I'm going to exercise. This is when I'm going to have breakfast, all of those things. And it doesn't always go perfectly to plan, but knowing that I have that laid out there gives me peace of mind for my week.
Isn't it crazy? Do you ever think about, kind of like in the position that you're in now, like how the heck did I do all the things in my life, when I was working 40 hours a week for someone else?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It really shows you like how stretched thin you can be. And it shows you how productive you can be when you focus and hone in on like a small number of tasks instead of running around like a crazy person.
Yeah, it's so true. So true. So I know with your niche specifically, a big reason why you decided to go down that path was because you were passionate about helping people like you, runners, which is awesome. Did you have any reservations or any bit of concern like niching down in that way, or what was that process like in you deciding, hey, this is the population that I want to serve, and this is what I want to move forward with?
Yeah, so there's definitely that feeling of, oh, there's not enough people in that niche that will want to work with me, or, the market's already saturated. There's so many people that work with my niche already. But I did a lot of like mindset work, and I forget who I heard it from first, but just learning about like abundance, the mindset of abundance, that there are enough clients out there for all of us. It doesn't matter if I have someone next to me who does the exact same thing and has the exact same niche, not even just runners, but niche down to like amateur beginner runners. Just knowing that, different styles of coaching and treatment work for different people, and there's always going to be clients out there for you. That was a huge mindset thing for me, because going into it, I was so worried that, I would do all of this work and there would be no clients to be had. And now I can't keep up with my contact list. So, so there are clients out there.
That's so good. That's so good. What are, mindset is such an important piece of not just business, but life, and it can really make or break you. And I always say it's a prerequisite to success in anything that we do. And it's not something that we do once and then we're good forever. Like it's a constant, work in progress. So what other mindset shifts have you had? I know you said one was going from a mindset potentially of lack or scarcity, where like, is there enough for everyone? Where now you're in this mindset of abundance. Have there been any other mindset shifts that you've had?
Yeah. So one of the other major mindset shifts for me is like mindset surrounding money and making money. So, when you are working for someone else, the client's money and what they pay for your services either goes through insurance, or if you're cash based, it, maybe goes through the clinic, but it doesn't feel tied to you. So, never before in my life had I had to pitch my services to people and directly ask someone for money for those services. So I think that working a lot about, my views surrounding money and all of that was huge in shifting towards charging what my programs are actually worth. And Javier will say I should increase it more, but I will. But one of the books I read it's actually called You Are a Badass at Making Money. It's like a silly title, but I read it. I listened to it through an audiobook when I was, running over the course of a couple weeks. And it had a lot of like really good tidbits in there. And one of the major things they talk about is like shifting your mindset around money from things you may have learned from your parents or family members, all the old cliches you hear, like money is the root of all evil, money doesn't bring happiness, things like that, and shifting it to positive things like money gives me opportunities. And I think looking at it in a positive light allowed me to increase my prices and not feel guilty asking someone to pay for my services, because I know that what I'm providing for them is what is going to help them. So it's worth it. So that was huge for me. And I'm not someone who like has a ton of confidence in all of that. I'm someone who, definitely deals with imposter syndrome sometimes, especially as a recent new grad. So, a lot of that mindset work was huge for me. And it's ongoing. Like you said, it never ends.
Yeah, that's so powerful. I love that book, by the way. You're a badass at making money. I think that drives, whether we know it or not, it drives every decision that we make every single day. And it can really it's a cause of a lot of self-sabotage, right? All the programming that we've had, from, like you mentioned, whether it was childhood experiences, like friends, colleagues, parents, etc. All these beliefs that were installed in us without us even deciding to accept them as beliefs are in there, whether we know it or not. So really exposing them, being aware of them, and then switching them for a positive belief, when that's going to allow you to get closer to your dreams, not further away, is so important. And money is one of those big things. So I think that's huge. And yeah, just thank you for sharing that, because that's it can really, allow you to grow or hold you back. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We got some questions rolling in, and we will definitely get to those at the end. So we see you, Kimberly. We see your question, Susan. So tell us a little bit about where you get your clients from, how you get your clients, what social media platforms are you on? Obviously, one of them is Instagram, but tell us a little bit about that process.
Yeah, so I'm mostly on Instagram. I do have a Facebook page, but honestly, I don't really use it. And I also have a website. So most of my clients, I would honestly say 50-50, come from, on my website, I have a contact form that kind of goes through my Google. So when someone fills it out, I get an email saying you have a new contact. So then I can reach out to them via their email through that. And then the other 50% of people I get through my Instagram direct messaging. And honestly, the people who go through my website, I think that most of that comes through my Instagram page anyways, because it's in my bio. So a lot of times I will, for example, put out stories or posts saying, for the month of October, I'm accepting 3 new one-on-one clients. And I'll typically be able to fill at least like a few of those spots through that. So just interacting with people, making sure I'm posting consistently. A lot of times people will send me a message and say like, hey, I've been, watching your posts for a while and I really like what you have to say. And then they'll schedule, a discovery call to see if they're a good fit for my program. So it's about, actively trying to find clients, but also it's just about being consistent in your business. People will come to you. Like at first, when I first started, I felt like I was doing a lot of seeking out of clients. And now that I've been doing it for a little bit longer, not that long, but a little bit longer, people seem to come to me now, which is really cool because I've taken the time to put those, steps in place for them to find me and come to me. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, for sure. And that's something that Javi and I talk about a lot. It's like in the beginning, you are a totally new person on social media. You just opened up your Facebook group, or you just opened up your Instagram account, or you just opened up your TikTok, or whatever social media platform you choose, right? But you just open it up and nobody knows who you are, what you do, who you help. There may be 1 or 2 videos of you on there. And you may have these call to actions like, hey, comment below if you want to join my running program, or comment below if you want to join my nutrition program. And people are not going to click it at first because you're this brand new person on social media. But like you said, we can't get discouraged. We have to continue to show up and be consistent on social media to build that credibility and that trust with people. And we always talk about that like point where it's going to shift or tilt to where instead of you always being the one putting yourself out there on social media, you talking to other people on Facebook, talking to other people on Instagram, leaving comments, messaging people, it's going to start to flip and people are going to start to come to you. And I remember you messaged us, it was maybe a month or so ago, and you were like, I literally can't keep up with all the messages in my inbox. Like, that's such a great problem to have, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely feels weird. going from that shift to, I open my laptop after a weekend and I'm like, oh, I have emails to respond to. It's really cool. So just, like planting those seeds and building the credibility. It takes a little time and consistency and patience, but it pays off.
Absolutely. That's awesome. And so, and we'll get to a couple of the questions that we have now. But what would you say, like, your, in terms, because I know everyone likes like the tactical stuff, like, how many times a week are you posting? Like, what type of content are you putting out there? So if you don't mind, you don't have to give us your whole content strategy, but
not all the secrets, just some of the secrets.
Just some of them. What do you, how are you thinking about the content that you put out there?
Yeah. So I try to make at least one post a day, typically two. So that's either like a reel or like a carousel post, which is one of the ones where you swipe through and it's kind of informative, things like that, or a personal post. So at least one of those a day, at least 5 to 10 story posts a day. And one of them will be interactive usually, or one of, me talking to people. So that's kind of my like schedule. I try to go, I try to do a like rotation through a couple different kinds of posts. So educational posts, personal posts, and kind of like a just because post. It keeps people engaged because they don't want to see you as like just some like cold clinician. They want to learn who you are and kind of identify with you. So I think sharing personal things it's more important than I think most people think. So I try to go through a lot of those. I'll try to do series of posts. So right now I've been posting about like different types of speed work. So people know to look out for that. So they say like, oh, last week she posted this. So I know next week, she's going to post this around the same time. So that's kind of like the numbers of what I do. One thing that I've been trying to get into, which this past week I wasn't as good about, I've been trying to post one reel a day. Reels are huge. They're like the biggest thing that I've been able to use for growth. And I know a lot of people who conduct their business on Instagram feel the same way. It gives you the most outreach, and they don't even have to be like super educational. Like some of my reels are, but they're mostly just funny, like funny things that runners can identify and people will share them. And, I've had a reel go upwards of like 320,000 views and, and average like maybe 10,000. So, you have to figure out what time of day is the best for posting. It's typically like the morning. But that's something I'm trying to get into, of posting at least one reel a day. So that's kind of my posting schedule, at least 1 to 2 full posts a day and 5 to 10 stories a day, just so you consistently pop up on people's feed.
That's awesome. That's so helpful for everyone watching. Like, I think everyone watching should pause this, rewind it, and listen to that again and take notes, because that was gold right there. I mean, you have so many clients just from Instagram, and it doesn't sound too complicated. I mean, yes, sitting down to create content, obviously it's a little time consuming, right? But it doesn't have to be so complicated at times, right?
And I try to batch create too, especially with reels, because, like I'm not going to do my hair or like makeup every day. So, basically what I do is I'll sit down and I'll scroll through, trending reels. And that's how you find the trending audio. Stop me if you don't know what those are. Basically, if you look at the bottom left corner of the reel, if there's a little upwards arrow next to the audio part, that means it's trending. So those are the audios that you want to use, because that will pop up on people's feeds. So I'll go through those. I'll save whatever ones I think I like. So you do that by clicking on the audio and then clicking save. And then on a day that I'm feeling like creative, or I, did my hair or makeup or whatever, I'll literally like change outfits and shoot a bunch of different ones. And then I have, like 5 to 10 to post. So I'm not scrambling every day of like, oh my God, what am I going to post? So I think that's huge. Also, if you can't save the trending reels, because that was a problem for me at first, you may have to change your Instagram account to a creator account. That was a huge tip I saw online too.
Yes. So good. So good. Susan has a great question. We're talking about reels, and I realize that they're fairly new, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some people may not know what a reel is, and that's a great question. So, Kate, since you are like reels expert, is asking, can you define a reel? Is that a video that you created? Like, what is a reel?
Yeah, so a reel is something that Instagram rolled out. It is relatively new. It's interesting because the owner of Instagram or the CEO or whatever kind of came out and said like Instagram is no longer a photo sharing app. It's mostly videos now. So you got to get behind it. So a reel is a short clip. I think they're like 8 to 15 seconds and you use someone else's audio. So you're basically like lip syncing to like a funny audio, a sound, a music like clip, something that you can spin to be like content for your audience. So like one that I made today was like an Eminem song, and it was a part where he said, "This looks like a job for me," and I like put the caption of like, "When a runner says they want to return to running without injury, looks like a job for me." So it's you kind of spin it for your business. So So a reel is just a short clip. If you're on Instagram and you go to your profile, if you click on the top right corner, there's a little plus sign in a box. If you click the plus, you can choose reel, and then it'll pop up and allow you to create one. They take a little time to get used to, like the timing sequence, and you can pause and stop it and all of that when you're making it to do different like scene changes. So just, go through and watch some different reels that other people have created to get some ideas and spend some time just messing around with them. Like the first couple ones you make probably aren't going to be great and might not like take off as much. But once you get the hang of it, they're really quick and easy to make. And I think they're a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love watching them. I love watching all your reels. I saw one that you did the other day. And I was like, this is amazing. And then that was actually Javi's first reel. We took the audio from that. I'm not sure if you saw it, but we'll tag you in it. We're pretty proud of it.
I'll have to go look. I haven't seen it yet.
Like, I'm serious. You really inspired us to start the reel. So it's been awesome. We've been having
really inspired us.
Tons.
For reals.
It's been so much fun. I think they're a blast to watch. I think they're fun to make and stuff. And kind of on the topic of like content creation and reels, do you ever sit down and you go to batch create your content and there's a day where you're just like, I have no idea what to create? Some days you may be in the flow and other days you're just like, I don't even know. Like, I know I want to do a carousel post or I know I want to put a personal post, but what do I even talk about? So how do you ever have days like that? First of all, second of all, if you do, how do you overcome it? What tips or tricks or advice would you give for creating content?
Yeah, I absolutely have days like that. I mean, we're always going to have days where we feel like less inspired or less motivated. One of the ways I avoid that is by batch creating, so then I don't have to do it like as frequently. But if I run into a day like that, honestly, like if I'm going to make a reel, I'll just like make something funny. Like it doesn't even have to be like business related. It could just be like running related, or it's just a post of me, at a race or anything, because the main thing is consistency. Like, yes, we want quality in our posts, but we want to maintain the quantity as well so that we're continually showing up on people's feeds. So even if it's not like this super profound and thought-provoking post, it doesn't necessarily matter as long as it's, something that your followers can identify with. So it doesn't always have to be like your best content ever. I think that was super important because for me in the beginning, like when I first started my professional Instagram, I was like, it was all like clinical and it was all cited stuff and all of that. And it's like, that's not what people want to see. So, if you're having one of those days, like don't feel like you have to produce super, super high quality content all the time. You can really post anything as long as it's, goes along with what you're doing.
That's awesome. Done is better than perfect, right? And perfect action, right? I mean, we do, it's not every day that we sit down and we are just like, I have no idea what to post, right? But there will be times, and it's just good to know to just be human, just post something. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. Just doesn't have to have all these fancy words in it. It doesn't have to be so scientific. Just post, be real, be you, be human, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Beautiful. Awesome. We have a couple questions here.
Sure.
From a few people. So I was figuring we could get these on here.
So, look at that. We've got the question out there and everything.
So Kim, Facebook user, what length of program is Kate selling and what does she find works best on Instagram? Post, stories, reels, all of the above.
Okay, so the program, I have a couple different programs, but they're all 4-month programs. And I tend to do like monthly payments instead of all up front. That just seems to work better for my population. So all of them 4-month minimum, but I do have people who will extend it longer. So, I have people, we get to the end of the 4 months and they end up extending, or when we first sit down, they're like, hey, my race is 6 months away and I want to do that. So I'm relatively flexible as long as it's at least 4 months. Honestly, for Instagram, for gaining a following, I think that reels are the best. After I have a reel take off, I look at my insights on like the Instagram business thing, and it's like my outreach explodes. So that's definitely, I'll sometimes even have like as many as like 80 new followers in a day after like a reel taking off. As far as, and more followers leads to more clients. As far as like directly gaining more clients, I think that posts and stories are the biggest ones for me, especially the like stories that I share that will say like, hey, I have 3 spots for October, and then I'll put a poll, and instead of saying like yes or no, I'll change to yes and yes, but over here. So there's 2 options for yes. And a lot of times people, maybe who are a little bit too shy to DM me or comment on a post will respond to that. And then I respond to that response of the poll and reach out to them that way. So that has turned over a few new clients for me as well.
Awesome. Yeah, so good. So good. So I know there are a few questions in this one. I think the one that most people will be wondering about, we can maybe fast forward, because the process of using Instagram, that could be an entire.
That's a biggie.
Yeah. Let's see. Do you get referrals through Instagram? Do you monetize your Instagram post? And are there any issues with practicing in other states, or are you representing yourself as a physical therapist or running expert in the fitness area?
Those are great questions. So I'll answer the monetize one first. I don't. I do have like an affiliate link through this like matcha tea company. It's just, I really like their products and they made me an affiliate. It wasn't like something I sought out. But no, I don't get like paid for any posts or anything like that. I think you have to be like a verified user for that. For referrals through Instagram, I actually I have a dietitian that I end up like sending people to. She's a running dietitian. Woohoo. And I actually went live with her today on Instagram. So she kind of covered some topics for me, and I'll go on her page live next week. But she's referred one of my new one-on-one clients, she referred to me. So it's nice to build connections with other clinicians who work with your population. And I scratch your back, you scratch mine, that type of deal. As far as practice apps, yeah. So I'm only licensed in Connecticut. I don't even live in Connecticut anymore. But yeah, I kind of market myself more under like the fitness professional category, but I do have on my page that I'm a physical therapist, and I do talk about physical therapy. It's just always kind of, when I talk to new potential clients, it's always with the caveat of, hey, I am a physical therapist, but, due to state licensing laws, I cannot call my services physical therapy, but here's what I do. So it's kind of a nuanced way of saying like, yeah, I'm still like using my PT brain, like you can't turn that off, but what you're receiving is not physical therapy per se. And I think that's typically the same across like all platforms that you use. There's some people that will reach out to you looking for like actual PT. But I think with the virtual kind of mode of things, people are more like flexible in understanding that, yes, it's developed by a physical therapist. And I think that's mostly the draw of it, is that you have the background knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah. So good. So good. So this has been amazing, Kate. Thank you so much for sharing all of this. I know everyone else has benefited greatly from it. If you're on, we might have a chance to answer one more question. So put your questions down in the chat for Kate. But Kate, one of the questions I have for you is, as we near the end here, is really, if you had to narrow it down, and I know it might be a bit of a challenge, but if you had to narrow it down to one, maybe two key pieces of advice for newer business owners who are looking to start gaining clients consistently, mm-hmm. What would you say that is?
Yeah, okay, I'll kind of narrow it down. Basically, just like keep at it. It's really scary at first. When I first launched mine as kind of like a side hustle, it took me think like 2 months of consistent posting before I even got like a real paying client. I took on a couple friends for free at first just to, kind of start going through the motions and getting used to it. But just, stay consistent, be patient. It takes time. And it's super worth it when it does pay off. I've been kind of looking at like my monthly like revenue. I have a chart and I started out like my first month, I think I made like $100 some, and now I'm hitting like my first 5K month. So it just takes time, and just stick with it, because if this is what you really want to do, there's no option to quit. You just have to keep pushing forward and you'll get there.
Yeah, that's so good, and it's so true, because a lot of the times we're looking at the short term, right? But this is a business that we're hopefully planning on building for the lifetime of our life, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, this is it. You're building a business to sustain you for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, and at some point you might not even have to do anything because you have a whole team running the show for you. But it's really having that long-term vision, that long-term mindset of like, hey, this is something that I'm going to be doing. And if we think about that vision, then we're not going to quit, at the first sign of a challenge, or after a month or 2 or 3 or 4 of like, man, this is not moving forward as quickly as I'd like it to. It never does, right? For some it might, but it's all about that patience and that consistency, and that's huge. So
yeah, it's no backup plan. Make it work.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we had one more question pop up, and then we will be wrapping up. So Susan has some great questions today.
Yeah.
Do you do one-on-one coaching for running for 4 months, or do you do groups?
I actually do both. So most of my clients are one-on-one clients. And I have one group that is a like strength training for runners group. Basically, they get like the programming for strength training, and it's a 12-week group. And we meet once a week to do a like full body circuit together Wednesday evenings. So that was actually new for me, that Javier and Marissa helped me kind of set up. I'm hoping to launch another one soon. I started off, the first majority of my business has been like all one-on-one. So the group was new, I think like a month and a half ago now.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited for you to launch it again. We'll definitely need to connect to talk to Saturday about it.
Yes.
Definitely.
So good. Yeah. Awesome, Kate. Well, thank you so much for jumping on with us. This has been amazing. Did you have any more questions, or?
Trying to think. I feel like I had one, but it slipped my mind. Maybe I'll think of it in a second.
Is there?
Oh, I do.
Oh, there it is.
I do. I remembered it. Okay. So the question is, where do you see your business going from here? We're ending 2021, going into 2022, thinking long term, like we just talked about. No quitting. You're in this for the long haul. What do you envision for your running business later on in the future?
Yeah. So the hope is eventually to kind of have like a hybrid style structure, where I'm seeing some people in person, maybe like 5 to 10 hours a week, and the majority of it being online. I do kind of miss a little bit of the hands-on. So once we're kind of in limbo of where we're living right now. So once we kind of decide where we're going to be long-term, the hope is eventually to maybe, work a couple hours a week out of like a personal training gym and meet with runners there. But yeah, looking forward, with the online stuff, hopefully growing the groups so I can have, like a good amount of people in that group to kind of sustain the economic growth as I go on, continuing to have, the same amount of one-on-one clients, maybe a little less than what I have right now long term, so continuing to scale. But yeah, I'm always looking for new ways to grow and learn as a business owner. Like, we're not taught any of this in school. Took one business class in school and I had to make a business proposal. Guess what I didn't do when I started my business? I didn't make a business proposal.
Oh my gosh.
So hopefully that's where I'll be, in the next like year, 1 to 3 years. But hey, I said 3 to 5 for what I'm doing right now. So who knows?
Yeah. No, I think the way you're going is going to happen a lot faster than you think. So
fingers crossed.
Yeah.
You got this.
Well, thank you so much for having me on. This was a blast.
Yeah. No,
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
Of
thanks
course.
for coming on. For sure, for sure. Everyone who is on right now, say thank you, Kate, for answering all your questions and for sharing. And really, like I mentioned before, we're here every single Monday to bring you the best of the best. So for any of you who might be wondering, hey, how do I start my own online business? Like, how do I start to gain clients and grow my business? And you're interested in finding out how you can get some more help, some more support, and a process along the way, just go ahead and comment game plan down below. And what we'll do is we'll set you up with a free 15-minute call where we'll just find out a little bit more about your business, see where you're at, see where you're trying to go. And if it's something that we might be able to help you with, we'll let you know. If we can, or we know someone else who might be able to help you best, then we'll point you in the right direction. So go ahead and comment game plan in the comments now, and we'll set up one of those calls with you. Again, nothing to buy on that call, just to see how we can possibly help you or point you in the right direction. So again, thank you so much for spending this evening with us. Kate, thank you. This was amazing, like we said, and look forward to being back here next week.
Thank you, guys. See ya.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.